range anxiety. That all the Tesla fanboys talk about. It's a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's been going around since the 90s. You try being an electric wheelchair user. Range anxiety is the fundamental part of being a wheelchair user. I've had this chair now for a couple of years, and it's been relatively reliable, but I can't push it as much as I could push my old chairs. And one day the engineer came out and was like, well, it's because you use heavy use. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, you use it more than 1,000 miles a year. I'm like, yeah, but that's 2.8 miles a day. Like, that's nothing. Like, people jog more than that. Like, what? He's like, yeah, well, most disabled people don't get out as much as you do. Oh, cool. I mean, most chairs aren't built to last, if we're being really honest. The amount of how much chairs cost is obscene. You're spending 12.5 grand. And then it probably won't last more than 2 years. Yeah, they charge 12 grand for them because they're custom made. And it's like each chair is slightly different in terms of size and stuff, so they can mark up the price. And because people are always going to pay for it because there's a need for it. Like, it's not like, beggars can't be choosers. Unfortunately the industry it's insane. On a good day, if I'm volunteering at the park run, or if I'm going around town flyering, or, going social groups, or, going for a walk down to the beach, I can rack up maybe 6-7 miles a day. On a day where I'm out and about. On average, over a year, it averages down to about, 2.5 miles a day. But, I mean, 6.5 miles, the chair's on amber, and range anxiety, that all the Tesla fanboys talk about. It's a new thing. It's not a new thing. It's been going around since the 90s. You try being an electric wheelchair user. Range anxiety is the fundamental part of being a wheelchair user. Like, you're constantly looking at the gauge, thinking how far have I gone, how far can I go. Like, if I do a incline of a decent steep slope, and I'm moving up it for more than probably maybe a minute, 2 minutes, the motor's overheat, and then I've got to stop and hope that the motor's cooled down so I can go a bit further, or turn back down and find a flatter route. Even things like finding drop curbs, like my carers and friends who walk with me down the street, like, before they met me, they're always like, I never realised how crap the pavements are. It's only when I'm with you and you see you bouncing around that you realise how bad the surface is, and then you see you trying to find a drop curb, and and they go, they go down there, and I go, I'll be back in a minute, I've just got to find a drop curb, and then they see me wandering off and going down the street a bit, and then coming back on myself. And then obviously some of my friends have had to push me when I've run out of charge, and they know how heavy the chair is, so they get the bad deal, the bad end of the deal when it conks out. But it's when the range dies, you just basically you just gotta hope you're as close to home as possible, and it's relatively flat. So I've actually run out of charge in the middle of Beijing after the closing ceremony. Normally for something like a toaster or an oven or it's forgivable, but with a chair it's sort of like, that's my day done. Then if it's not been put on charge that night, I know I can't go. So again, it can affect the whole day. Like, you just have to moderate what you're doing, or if the batteries are, like, sometimes batteries can go from fine to crap after a couple of cycles, and then you just and because the power gauge on the chairs usually don't give you much warning as to when the battery's flat. So again, you've just got to know. You do it by feel. You feel when the motors aren't quite giving you full whack, and you're like, okay, it's time for me to get home.